Regrettably, all of that is lost to space and time. I just now hit the record button.
That's okay.
In sum, that's my friend Chen, and he does marketing communication, and I've been trying to send business this way for a while, but we've yet to find someone to take me up on it. They don't know what they're missing.
Well, Joe and I met in Seattle many years ago, and I'm delighted by the opportunity to join. The only thing I'd like to say is that the pronunciation of my name in Hebrew is Chen. It's Ch.
Oh my goodness! All this time.
I don't mind. I usually say that the name is Ken, like Chris, CH. So otherwise, people are expected to see somebody, a Chinese or a Japanese, on the other end of the line. So Ken is fine. I told you that, but I guess that your memory is not that great.
I suppose, but I'm married to a Jew, right?
No, I did not know that.
I can all you want.
Really? Actually, I grew up in Tokyo and in London, and it's a really bad name to have, living in these countries. So I'm used to people I'm used to people calling me whatever. So if you can do the ch, you're my guy. Okay. Yeah, that's it. Like
and Michael, you've not joined us before either, so why don't you introduce yourself?
Absolutely. Mike Lawless, like an outlaw. I'm a mechanical engineer and an inventor.
Not just
worked
like
most of my career in medical. Just not just like one, but I am one. I worked most of my career in medical devices, and I've been involved in high volume products. I did work also a little bit in aerospace, and I mentioned briefly that I used to live in the San Francisco Bay Area in Silicon Valley, and I designed the first disk drives for the first PCs that had disk drives. So I really enjoyed that, really challenging stuff. I went to school at Santa Clara University and University of San Francisco up in the Bay Area. But I'm in Oklahoma, so I'm kind of a odd fellow. I'm east of Tulsa, about an hour out in the country. We raise cattle and do farm stuff, and I have a lot of children and grandchildren, and it's a pretty interesting contrast when I travel versus where I live. I refer to myself as a high-tech redneck, so that kind of works.
That's kind of
a very brief.
How many kids do you have?
It's pretty interesting. I have 7 children.
Wow.
I have 7 children. Yeah, 4 girls and 3 boys, and I have 7 grandchildren. And I'm 59 years old now, so I'm a little too old to think about a career in a typical sense. And I'll share my story about the consulting. But my consulting business grew quite a bit out of necessity, and I'll share what it is. I love what I'm doing, but it's really amazing one day to be moving cows and the next day to be in Silicon Valley working on the craziest technologies imaginable. I can get started here, Joe, if you want, or do you want to wait for a few more people?
Nope, this is the way we go. People show up. Hey, Stephen Carter, I know you're on the line. I'd love if you said hi.
I know you can hear me very well.
Are you in the car?
No, I've just got a very dodgy microphone.
You have a dodgy webcam? Look and see you. You and your boyish smile.
I see if I can get it working. He says.
In a better camera, in a better microphone. That's crazy.
I have my headset. I'm sat in a little office at the moment.
After this call, everyone's going to chip in $20, and we're going to get you a microphone.
There you go. There you go. Well, maybe we should go back to introductions, but just for those who've just joined, I'm not. And this will be kind of, I'll call this a chat with Mike, and we'll cover some things, but it's very informal, followed by an Ask Mike. As I mentioned earlier, my background's mechanical engineering, and my career's in product development. We're going to talk about product design mostly today, design and related things. But I'm happy to join you guys. I'm kind of excited that Joe's giving me this opportunity. I'm looking forward to meeting you probably in person if you are going to attend his events in San Diego. I think that would be a lot of fun.
Hey, Michael, I think I've misadvertised this morning's session. You see, I talked about how I was going to talk about Slack and how to improve your business over premium because I wasn't sure. We talked about something a while ago and then we didn't talk for a couple of weeks, so we disconnected there a bit. So what I propose, if you don't mind, is let me spend, say, 10 minutes or however long the questions go on when I advertise these kind of people, and then we'll move over to what you have, and perhaps we can talk about the PI, predictive index.
Sure.
Sure. So how did we first, Stephen, why don't you go ahead and mute your mic? We enjoy seeing you, but we don't want to hear you really at all. Michael, well, how did we first meet? Do you remember?
Well, I think I talked to you a couple of years ago. This group related. I saw you in the LinkedIn, and I think I was in that group, barely participated. And I think we had some mutual friends, people that knew you. A couple of years ago, I gave you a call. We were both really busy. And then we reconnected this year and got into a little deeper conversation, which I think is pretty interesting. But we're in the same circle, so it makes sense that we would chat.
Mike and I got talking on a much deeper level about a month ago, and he shared with me a predictive index test, which for the uninitiated, and I was among them, is kind of Myers-Briggs-ish. Now Elliot decided to show up. I'm sorry, my lap is busy. I don't know if he's going to handle that very well. And I'm going to find mine, and I'm going to share this. Okay, you know, it's funny. A year and a half ago, we lost Elliot's brother, Brooklyn, and Brooklyn used to enjoy sitting on my lap, and Elliot does a bit, but then he jumps off and he sits over there. And when I had the two of them, you know, we'd never have one dog on my lap. One would get jealous of the other, and they would both kind of compete for lap space. I didn't mind, and I don't mind today. And it might actually get him to stay up here a little longer, which is nice. Another little dog anecdote, I'm sorry, but it's the day after Thanksgiving, so it's going to be a bit more cash than usual. Libe, which is Greek for love, is not as well trained in my house as our dog. So this morning I came down at 5 minutes before this call, and waiting for me was a little present right in front of my office. I was like, now what's that supposed to mean? Anyhow, let me find my predictive index, which captured me so completely that I had my wife look at it and I say, honey, you're not going to believe how accurate this is. And I'm not sure who said it first. I think I did. She said, the only thing missing here is that you're an asshole. So that's pretty much how completely this thing captured what it is to work with me.
That's not one of the categories, though, so I could see how that would.
Yeah, it would slip through.
Right. Yeah.
Actually, Mike, why don't you, if you don't mind, tell them about this? And what I've yet to do, but plan to, is post this publicly on my, hey Jeff, on my website, so people who are considering working with me know exactly what they're getting into. Now, most people do because I'm happy to, avoid
Sure.
us working together for a week or two, and then you're being like, you're a bit blunter than I would have thought. So I think it smooths relationships long term to make sure that we're getting in bed with people that we know and like. Mike, if you would.
Yeah, absolutely. I'd love to give an introduction. I stumbled across Predictive Index by accident less than a year ago. I've been very interested in the teamwork side. So, I'm looking at sort of the technology and the people to pull it together and how to organize that. And the people side is always obviously a big challenge. So Predictive Index is an old company that's been around since the 50s, and it's originally a psychometric like Myers-Briggs and many others. There's dozens of these. A handful are fully validated. This is one of the full ones. What's different about Predictive Index, and I'll get into the specifics here, but just to give you the big picture, because I'm a big picture guy, that I just always start there. It was acquired by two MBAs that are very impressive, and they have ambitions for this to be much more than an assessment tool, but a tool to help optimize the talent pool, to design your teams, decide who you're going to have, how well they're matched. What Joe here is showing us some of the teamwork tools, so you can put more than one person, the whole team can go on this, and it shows the different styles for communication, the different styles for making decisions, for taking action, etc. And so that's really one of the helpful tools to it. But they're adding this to basically be a people tool for assessment from hiring till you retire, a strategy. And it even helps managers know how to coach different specific employees, people in their team members, and how to communicate. So it's a great tool a couple ways. One is you get a baseline of where you're at. So if we have sort of a lopsided team where everybody has the same types of qualities, then you're missing other qualities, and you can either compensate for it or maybe consider adding some people to your team or changing your team up. But it's really a more objective tool. It doesn't make decisions for you. It's kind of a framework. But let me show you Joe's here for a second, because the immediate thing that's different about this than Myers-Briggs is it gives you one profile that's kind of your natural behavior. So it's yourself. It says self and then self-concept. And what's happens, these two, one is how you feel that you're supposed to behave in a work situation. So in your work, if you're expected to behave a certain way, it may be different than your natural behavior.
Which one?
And this is a fundamental part of the tool.
This one is
self
the one
is kind of your natural self.
Okay, this is me being me.
Yeah. So this is you being you, and then the self-concept is you acting in your role. And when those are very close, it's very comfortable, comes natural. Maybe Joe's pretty close here, and he's comfortable doing that. But let's say you're, I could show you mine's, I'm a wild maverick, but where my D's -3 sigma. But the further they are away from each other, the less you'll have, because you're having to adapt in a way that doesn't come natural, and your performance may be off, and it's a great coaching tool for people. So yeah, the A's a little, so this is interesting there, because I think that A being to the right might fit your other characterization earlier, Joe.
Yes, it does. Well, I think that the second circle is the asshole gene. And I say that because it says that, this is my loose telling of it, because I'm not the scientist who made this data. But the fact that I'm telling you is the one versus, hey, I'm hearing what you're saying. Let's, I'm saying, like, look, declaratively, this is what we're going to do. And I also say that I'm relatively inflexible about it. And that's very true. When it comes to the few things about which I feel exceptionally well versed, i.e. marketing, you're not going to shake what I've been doing for however many years. People hire me for that. And I'm not like, yeah, well, I don't waffle. So I'm pretty inflexible about that. But it's interesting to me that I see myself at work as being, well, I guess, no, that's true, as being less flexible than I feel I am. I'm more flexible about life than I am about what I do. Would you say that's how to interpret this, Michael?
Well, it seems to be showing the opposite. I don't know what it seems to be showing that maybe because you're running your own business and it's very creative, you feel the need to be even more flexible than your natural inclination.
Okay, then I have them mixed up. This is the one of how I see myself, usually, and this is how I see.
Yeah.
And this is how I think people see me?
Yes.
Okay.
Or how you should behave in your role. So you feel the pressure to behave a certain way. So let's say you had to be very structured or follow a bunch of rules, but that wasn't your natural behavior, then the D would move to the right. So being precise and being structured is D.
Okay.
Yours, I don't know why it's flipped a little bit. Maybe you feel the need, like on the second one's interesting on your B, is because your B is higher in your self-concept of yourself, which means that you feel that you need to be more outgoing than natural. So you're almost 3 sigma on that. And that would make sense for your role. But maybe you like low quiet time. You're about 1 sigma on B in terms of yourself.
Yeah, I think that's
That makes
right.
sense.
I mean, this is a very, here I am. It's 10, 20 minutes ago, I was very comfortable in bed, and I was like, okay, I promise that it's my work to speak, and the meeting doesn't start until I do. Get your coffee and let's go and be social is not exactly how I was feeling in bed.
So let me add a little bit more about PI and how it's used. It's really, they're designing the tool to be a business tool, and they're really trying to connect the business objectives to how the team is designed and operated and optimized. So it's very much application. So you're looking at these different styles and leadership styles and team styles to figure out how to match them with your goals as a company. And there's a lot more than I could share today, but maybe we can do a separate session just on that, Joe, so I can share the full spectrum. But right now we're in the middle of a pilot on strategy alignment, which is really fascinating. So if you have a team, right now we're doing a pilot, but if you have a leadership team, executive team of 4 or 5 people, it takes kind of an assessment of how well aligned everybody is, and then it's used as a tool as a baseline, and then you work on your alignment till you're close to 100% alignment, because you're going to be more successful as a business if your executive team is actually pulling the same direction.
Hey, Mike,
and that's a pilot we're having quite a few clients do.
We talked about this, and it's been almost a month, and I forgot kind of how we netted out where we did, and I don't mind talking about this in public if you don't. When he first showed me this, I was like, oh my God, this is amazing. I would love everyone on Premium to take this so that we could map ourselves as the virtual company that I think we are. And I would say that it would make my job of, this isn't part of the value proposition that I advertise, but I look at all of you as my clients, and I want people who ask me, hey, do you know someone who, to be answered by, yeah, Andre does this and Steven does that, and you want to talk to Chen. The way I think about what we're doing here is that I'm kind of like, for you who are old enough to remember the Love Boat, I'm Julie, and I know where the Lido deck is, but I don't know how to engineer, so go to the Lido deck where Rick's giving a talk on that. I want to know all of my guests really well so I can pair people together. I get a great deal of personal satisfaction doing that, and mapping us all would be a great tool for that. Now, there's an expense involved in this tool. It's Mike's. I wasn't about to say, hey, Mike, do you mind giving away your tool to 80 of my best friends? So we began to talk about how much it would cost, and we didn't resolve that. But let me ask everybody but Mike. First, do you think a tool like this could be valuable for you individually, as I plan to use it to let my clients or future clients or people who will avoid me after reading this know exactly what it's like to work with me? That's question one. Second is, do you think that we as MDG Premium would benefit by having everybody take this so we could see how we all fit together as a virtual company, which is another way that I think about what we're doing here? And third, what you think the value would be / how much would you feel is like, yeah, that's fair to pay for this kind of thing, because I know the right number. I know how much it costs Mike. I know what the break even for Mike would be to have everybody take this, but I don't know that everybody wants to pay that dollar amount. So anyone who's willing to go, do you see the value for yourselves? Or or we haven't told you enough about it yet. It just looks like another Myers-Briggs, and I've done a million of those, so who cares? Anybody?
There's a. Oh, go ahead.
I was just gonna say I certainly want to take a personality test, whether it was Myers-Briggs or DISC or one of the other ones, and so this one seems strong, and so I'd be open to doing that. So overall, yes, I would find it valuable.
How much do you think you'd be willing to pay to do it? You can say $1 or you can say $1 million. It doesn't matter. I'm just interested in what you perceive.
I'd put it on the order of $100, kind of
okay.
That order of magnitude.
Anybody else?
Yeah, taken a bunch of those in the past. I know Myers-Briggs had one. I like the contrasting part of it. Myers-Briggs had one that was, at a base state, at a state that you enjoy, and also at a stressed state. That was super valuable. Mm-hmm. So this kind of contrast might also have some real value. I didn't know I was trying to guess how much an evaluation like this would cost. I threw out $38, but I'm uneducated in this, so I may have no idea. Well,
what do you think about the notion of everyone in this group taking it and being plotted on this map?
That might have the most value. That might actually really increase the value. We could all do a little share and compare.
Anybody else?
I was going to say but.
No, you did say I saw you wave your hand.
Yeah.
Stephen, Chen, pardon me, Ken, it'll take some time. Andre, anything?
For myself, I haven't done this before, so I don't know exactly the full, explanation of it. So I don't think I'm a good person to ask about it.
What I'm going to do is I'm going to put mine in. Which channel should I put this in? Should I put it in our weekly call, you think?
Yeah.
Okay, I'll put it in our weekly call.
Yeah, you could create another channel for either talent optimization or people strategies or something like that.
I could put it in careers, but I don't think that's the right place for it. I'm going to put it here for now. And I'm not going to create a channel for it yet because I'm not sure how often people would find this.
So Joe, one thing I could share that might help on this, and I'm kind of a believer in what I call incrementalism. But yeah, if you have sort of some real active core team, on your MDG, we could do that for free. That wouldn't cost anything. And then also we use that as an example then. So let's say you pick 5-6 people or maybe a few more. That wouldn't cost anything. Try it, test it out, share it with other people. I did talk to PI about virtual organizations and so that conversation has begun. And my company is also a virtual organization. So all of my partner firms are well, not all of them, but a lot of them have already taken the predictive index. And the main difference, there's a lot of great tools. DISC is great. A lot of these are great tools. So it's not really that this one is better than the others in the general sense, but the company has gone to a much more comprehensive program. So it extends much further. Also, I think it's arguably the easiest one to take. I think, Joe, you could attest to that this thing took such a short amount of time for how much data came out of it.
Yes,
exactly. And that's a big deal because, whenever we get a survey, someone sends me a survey, I don't want to fill it out. Most of us procrastinate. We don't do it for a long time, even when it's 5 minutes. But after you do this, everyone's come back to me and said, wow, this is just too easy. It's too quick.
Yeah, it was astonishing how accurate it was given the amount of effort I put in.
What did your wife think of both the assessment and the outcome for her?
She wasn't surprised by it. And I was surprised by what it said about my wife. I expected her to be far more, I don't know. Well, let me say this. She had the same profile as you, Mike, as a Maverick. What is most characteristic of a Maverick, in your view?
So Maverick is a upward line from the bottom to the top. So your D is all the way to the left. I could share mine if you want, or if you still have it. And then your A's, the dominance is very high. So it's almost from left to right going uphill. What that means is that you don't like a lot of structure. You're kind of a free thinker, brainstormer, that sort of thing. So that fits my personality, and also my self-concept and self are pretty close because I have my own business. So when you have your own business and you have latitude to run it how you want, not as big of a difference.
And I was surprised by this because I think it benefits.
One other thing I'll add as far as cost before you get it.
Yeah. Go ahead.
Yeah, I was just going to add one other thing, that if anyone on the call, and we could do a poll here, probably you said most of the folks in your group are consultants, but if anyone is a potential client of PI, we can do those profiles for free too, so you can do an evaluation. Most of my clients right now are doing a free assessments as well as a strategy assessment, so it's pretty fascinating stuff.
Okay, so I just shared mine, and we'll figure that out if it makes sense for you to do it that way. Let me use the fact that I'm in Slack right now as a transition for what I advertised today. So keep in mind that what I'm going to show you is my user experience with this. And then remember that I'm the guy who invited you all here, and I see myself as the coordinator of this. So some of the things that I do here won't be relevant for you. However, you might pick up a trick or two about how I'm using it as a super connector. That I live for bringing you guys together. It's the most satisfying thing I do. So this is how I'm using that tool to the max. First, you can see here that I've yet to. I put a status for myself. I clear it. So this moon suggests that I was asleep. And the way I set my status is I just click on the arrow down here, set status. And these are the default ones that I've set for everybody. But I could put anything there. And this doesn't suit one of the states that you're in, you can click here and find any one of these icons. In fact, down here, it's gray, but you can see here, just because I have this other thing, this is the set of emojis you can add to any of your discussions. I went and created my own emoji. If you're really inclined, I doubt few are, I think few will be, but I went and created this for myself, which is Joe Sleep. And I write nap time because I like my naps. So if you see the sleeping Joe, that means I am not going to answer you right now. And notifications is separate. Right now I have do not disturb on. And now if you were to ping me, I would hear da-da-da, which is the sound that I have to indicate that someone's on Slack talking to me. These two work independently of one another. However, you can indicate how long you want that status to just be there. So if I'm just taking a 30-minute nap, which is almost never the case, but for our illustration purposes, 30 minutes from now, my little sleeping head will just go away. Now, because this is independent of one another, you would still bother me, if you will, while I was sleeping, because this doesn't shut off notifications. So that's one. Two, you've likely seen this unread mentions. It just lets you know that somebody's talking to you. I don't mind showing you what people said. No, but this is awesome. I'm going to sign up. Okay. I showed Nick something that a friend sent me about policy and reporting and reimbursement. And that was his reply. And let's see what Chen had to say. Not going to Shabbat tonight. Now, what's going on with that?
Back on. It's 6:35 p.m. Usually around 7 p.m. we go to our parents' or to friends' house. Couldn't happen to. That's the main reason that I usually do not join these calls, but it didn't happen tonight. So
come Sunday, you're not supposed to do anything but being up. educate us about Judaism for a moment. Yeah, the calls go in all directions.
You're asking the wrong person. I'm not an observant Jew, so.
All right. Okay, well then let's move on to the next thing that somebody, Slackbot told me that I received 3 notifications while I was in do not disturb mode. Okay. Burpee finally wrote back. Yeah. Burpee's the gal on the right. She's in our group, and this lovely, lovely woman died at age 36. She lived in the Ukraine. She moved to the United States, married, lived in New York. I was looking for her one day and I discovered she died of cancer. So she was a guest. Rick, you would have met her if you remember or not. Oh, I loved her. She was just so lovely. So that was a real shame. And I discovered this picture and I didn't know if Burpee knew, so I told her. So anyhow, that was a sad departure, but okay, threads. There's a difference between a thread and a discussion. A discussion is, if I were, well, this is a bad example. I'll go here. Larry said, Happy Thanksgiving to all. If I want to say Happy Thanksgiving back to him, I don't go Happy Thanksgiving back, because that would be another discussion, if you will. It's another topic. Instead, I can go over here. You just hover over this and you go to the right. And this is starting a thread. This is saying, oh, by the way, so here's shorthand for the emoticon, the emojis. Instead of having to go here, if you know what it is that you want to say, I want to give them a turkey. I start with a colon and I start writing turkey. And pie. And you'll see here that there's one reply to this discussion as opposed to, and the reason that's especially good is because if Steve Bixby's comment about the medical device tax, I've been away for a week, I come back and I'm like, oh, I've heard about the medical device tax, and I start typing here, it could be a matter of days between what he said and what I'm responding to, and it's like, what are you talking about? So at that point, it would be disruptive. I mean, I'm the next one after Larry. I could say Thanksgiving to you too, and it would make sense. But here, I can go and see what I wrote and no one else did. I, for one, have heard nothing, and this would be a chance for us to digress yet again. Has anyone heard anything about the likelihood the medical device tax will be reinstated on January 1? No.
I have not heard anything about that.
I haven't either. Okay. You can see here that I have other channels as well. Here's a picture of Elliot, and this is pictures of that I just have a chat for my family. And this is my Zachary, really early on, deciding that he was going to be in business like his father. And I wanted to share this with him. He has more computers than I do, but he's ambitious and an entrepreneur, obviously. And then I have my channel for my team. And this is the thing I love most about Slack, the collaborative nature of it. So yesterday, in fact, it was 2 o'clock that I went to bed. It's 2:13 here. I wrote him, it's not possible. What do you mean it's not possible? That's a problem. Okay, well, it's not possible. I upgraded my medicaldevicegroup.net homepage last night, apparently not completely, until, let's see if this would be, that yesterday, no. Up until yesterday, it looked, well, I don't know if I'm going to find it.
Okay.
Off the bat, editor. It looked more like, well, this is just a little history for you. This is what the website looked like back in 2012 when the group, the LinkedIn group, was the big deal. And this was just kind of a, and by the way, I have other stuff. When LinkedIn turned off the faucet and I had to make the site do the heavy lifting, I completely changed it. This is how it looked like on the day it launched a year ago. But you'll still maybe remember this slant and this video and the chats right there. Then my glorious, he is fantastic, my glorious designer, Antonio, if you need some help with design, he is your man. He lives in Macedonia, and he made this mock-up for me. And imagine going back and forth with emails. It's just too much. And so I was able to just collaborate and then send this link over to Raul and Hardik, who are doing the coding for me. Let's see what they said at a very late hour. Complete, go look at your new homepage. So I can go here. And this is concerning because it didn't pop up earlier either. And this is what happens when you do things when you're sleeping and you don't have a chance to check yet. But you can see this is quite different. Now, premium is the first thing that I'm talking about, where I didn't hardly mention it yesterday. I've rebranded the thing instead of what I have on my LinkedIn profile. The way I introduce this, the way I've been talking about this, the way I've been trying to seed what the concept is, has been the medical devices group is now your virtual workspace. I can go into a side discussion about why it was that, or you can go to my podcast, Eavesdropping on Joe Hage, where I had a conversation with not only Karen, my copywriter, but then with a marketing research person. And both of these were, we talk about his book, but he also gave me his feedback on why virtual workspace didn't mean what it meant to me, to him, and it was confusing, and that's not the real value here, that there's a virtual workspace, but that I'm willing to connect you with everybody that I know, and that's far more valuable. I think he's right, but I didn't know how to express that initially because I thought I needed to level set what this is relative to LinkedIn, which everyone knew is a discussion platform for free. And so yesterday I came up with, what can this huge network do for you today, which is far more of the value that I'm trying to offer here, and to get immediate and direct access to the smartest people I know. Am I going too fast? I'm talking about lots of things at once. I'm going to just then show you that this site that I can't live without is called the Headline Analyzer. And I don't write a single post without coming here first. And it helps me gauge what people will find interesting. So this got a score of a 73, which anything over a 70 is really quite good. And this got one of the highest scores I've ever gotten. This got a 78. In contrast, and it doesn't surprise me at all, but I didn't know how else to do it, the medical devices group is now your virtual workspace. I don't remember what it got, but I'm going to guess somewhere between 56 and 62. There you go. I'm getting good at this. Actually, my son Zachary and I played this game for more than an hour and a half yesterday. We were just making up shit and seeing how high the score was. And he got the highest score I've ever seen. On his first try, he said, look at this depressing, sniveling dump. That got an 88. And the closest I came up, I got it, I think, an 83 with 10 mistakes, 10 sex mistakes that make people laugh at you. That got an 83. And I got an 85 with how to cash in instantly on your surge in the polls. That got an 85. Okay, I've yet again digressed. Sorry. Anyhow. So here are featured discussions. This does not look good. This I forgot to change. That's fine. That's not right. This is what happens when you wake up and you, okay, I didn't ask for that, but okay. And that's not what I wanted either, but we're getting closer. Okay. Oh, he's not able to, he couldn't figure out how to scroll. Okay, we'll have to figure that out. I don't like the way that looks, and I don't like the way that looks. Anyhow, I was able to work on this virtually. This is what a virtual team is like. In fact, I insist now that all of my clients are on Slack because it's just too inefficient to do it the other way, in my opinion. Let's go back to Slack. Okay, let's go back here. One of the things that is a default setting for Slack is in you guys have a direct messages, each of you probably does. Whenever I say hi, you see Joe Hage and you see that this is bolded because I said something to you. If we go more than a week or two without connecting, I'm going to drop off this list. You won't see me. And if you want to talk to me, you have to go to click this and find me. Actually, that won't be very helpful to do it like that. But I haven't spoken to, let's say, Sarah in a while. S-A, here she is. I can click on this. I can go to go, and there she is. But specifically because I am playing the role of making sure everybody's happy, I went up here to more items, and I clicked on help, and I said contact us, and I've written about this. Their chat function is phenomenal. They're incredibly responsive, and they answer anything you can possibly ask. And I said, is there a way for me to not have the names disappear so I could see who was online? And they told me no, and then I pressed and we went back and forth, and we came up with a workaround. And that workaround is whatever you star stays active in your starred section. What does that mean? That means I can click on Mitch, I can star the conversation, and he disappeared from here, and he went up here. So I see him anytime that his green light's on. In fairness to Mitch, the reason that I put him down there for the moment and not up and starred is he leaves his light on all the time. So I keep getting a false positive of being like, hey, Mitch, and then it's like nothing. And I don't want to write, hey, Mitch, so that when he comes back in 3 days, it's like, hey, Mitch, hey, Mitch, hey, Mitch. Not to be confused with Hamish.
So you're saying we're all stars in your eyes, Joe?
You know what? I'd reach out and embrace you if it were possible. That's one drawback from working virtually. See, that was good pun comedy right there, and I reward and respect you, Daniel Beard, for that.
Always enjoy a good pun.
Put that tool on and put yourself in Paris. We just muted yourself. Do you have to go to someplace special to go to Paris, or you can just click?
I can't on this computer because it's running Linux. I'd have to be on my Windows computer for that.
Oh, okay.
Unfortunately.
So he has this cool tool that I'm probably going to get. And I'm going to go here. Oh, here's another tool I can't live without. I have to tell you about beef text. Beef text. This is a word expander. So if you can imagine how many times in my life I have had to type medical devices group. I never type that anymore. Instead, I type ZZMDG, and I never type my email address. I type ZZJMX or ZZJDX or ZZJDE. You can do this with your credit cards. Here's my address. Here's what I say to people when they join the group for the first time. I say Rick, and it's all done. And it's formatted. This is a different format. This is bold. Here is a smiley face. It works on LinkedIn, so messaging. Ed is sorry that he's been radio silent. Stock done. And they got stock. What happened to the ton? Stockton.
I can second that application, Joe.
Who spoke? Who said that? Oh, that's Ryan. Why don't you show yourself, Mr. Carpenter?
I am showing myself. I'm not in Paris. I'm just by the horses. Isn't this nice?
Oh, do only 8 of us show up at a time?
No, his camera's off.
It has.
What?
It's on right now, but it's probably an internet thing.
Okay. Anyhow, so here's, let's say Rick just joined the medical devices group for the first time. I go ZZWQ. That's just random letters, but ZZ is the prompt. I
use auto hotkey for that.
And I hit send. And this is everything that just showed up. It made this bold, made this bold. This is clickable, bold, smiley face. This looks pretty personalized. Oh, look at that. Okay, here's another tool I have to show you. Why is this sitting here blank? This is sitting here blank because I changed my home page since the last time I sent this. And LinkedIn hasn't figured that out yet. So what I have to do, this is a special, because LinkedIn situation, I have to take the link that I'm talking about, and all this is recorded if I'm going too fast, and I go to Post Inspector. Hey, he's outside.
Yep. That's why I can't leave the video on too long, because it's really cold. I have to put the phone in my pocket.
And here is the link, and this resets throughout LinkedIn to recognize that I need to go back and check out that website so I can recache what that link is. So I have to probably do it for every iteration of the way that I refer to this page or this site now. And perhaps, I'm not sure because LinkedIn, perhaps when I reset, it'll show the picture that I want it to be. But I'm not sure. It did it. Hooray. Here's another thing. You know, I'm kind of quickly going in all sorts of directions. The real point of me talking today was little marketing tips, specifically on Slack, but also in general. The reason this shows up, and I'm going to send you another thing. So here's a link to today's call, and I send this to you. You get no picture. Why did this get a picture and this didn't get a picture? It's because this page is on my website, and I have a featured image for it. But this website does not have a featured image, so it just gives you this kind of grayed out blah blah. What are you, new product design? Normal product design, HTTP, I keep picking on Rick. Normal product design.com. So let's see what happens. Do you know what happens?
I hope I do.
Yeah, well, this is what happens.
Oh my goodness.
So that's what, every time you say, go check out my site, this is what people see. And they could see a picture of me, I mean, of you, smiling or designing or doing something that indicates you're the guy to work with.
So how do I make that happen? How do I get a picture of it?
Is, let's see, edit, well, this is going to be a more complicated example because of how complex this page is. I'll go into 10x. So I'm on WordPress. Almost every site I've ever done has been on WordPress. It's exceedingly easy, I think. And I just need for the dashboard to come up. Here's an article. It's one of the most visited on this site. Called, it's a blog post of every medical device event that I know of that's coming up. And here, oh, I'm gonna have to go down quite a bit because this is a long post. I have a tool called Yoast. This is for search engines and for how things appear. This is going to be something you'll just want to come back and watch. There's a social tab, and while it doesn't say LinkedIn, I think Facebook is the default. And I placed the URL to the image from my media library there. So this is what you would see if you went to that. Hey, there's Steven. Handsome. You've lost a little weight, I think. Have you lost weight? Yeah, he's gonna get his bad microphone. This picture's about 3 years old. Have you lost weight in the last 3 years?
Yeah, we lost some, then some, lost some again.
I mean, you look like crap here, but I chose this picture because it shows a lot of people not caring what they look like. You know what I mean? Anyhow. Okay, you can shut off your mic now. And go buy yourself one. For Black Friday, do you celebrate Black Friday? It's an internet thing. You can get yourself a reasonable microphone on Black Friday. So that is the link you would see for, okay, that's a bit premature, but I'll work on that. So each of these images here happen to be the images that I use for these posts. So even though these are really, I'm telling you too much. These are embedded videos. There's a way to do that. But I also capture this as an image so that it shows up as the default. Let's go back to Slack because I do want Mike to talk too, and I'm just getting ahead of myself. Okay, so one way I leave all of the loved ones in my life, the real stars out there, is I star you all. And that way, every time somebody comes online, I can be like, yo, Coop, why aren't you on this call? ZZOH. There we are in beautiful Paris. Thank you, Daniel. Because I don't need to remember what the URL is for this call. OH, you don't need to know the logic of why it's called OH, but there we are. What else can I tell you about Slack? Oh, I'll go to the How to Slack channel. And I'll remind you that I've been sharing things as I go. How to complete your profile. If any of you haven't put in your LinkedIn URL or your website URL, I recommend that you do this. It can only be done on desktop. Apparently, the mobile experience is not as complete as this. And I recommend that you use the same display text as the URL so that what you actually see to click on is the link. I think it's less confusing. Otherwise, it will say your website URL, your LinkedIn URL, which isn't the right. So here's Intro to Slack. I put in a video. This is from the company Slack to explain kind of basic functionality. Here's something on how to chat and channels. Something else. Here's how to share a document on Slack. You can put in Dropbox or other things. Knowledge management, how to leave a comment. That's a video I made for you. This is explaining how to put things in bold. This is bold and this is italics. I can click on the word bold and click on the bold. And I can click on the italics and I can click on the italics. That's how you do that. And then I could, let's say, I could say that we now deserve a tropical drink for our accomplishment, bolding and italicing. It makes it more interesting versus just straight text all the time. Start items, I showed you. Oh, I haven't done anything with this yet, but I wrote, if you have any lingering doubt about Slack, this just happened. Facebook now has a Slack competitor. Basically, this is something that I set up for my chorus. I haven't done anything with it yet, but this is that function. This is Slack on Facebook. So that reinforces your good decision to get involved with all the cool kids are doing now.
Hey, Joe. Sorry, Joe.
Yes.
Yeah, just a quick note there. I posted a link for the assessment so everyone on this call can have a free PI assessment.
Thank you, Mike.
Sure.
Even if you're on mute, you guys can raise the roof for Mike now, if you just want to do that. Come on, Jeff, don't be like that. What a, yeah! If I'm saying hi to you too often, you can, well, let's go with, I'm tired of listening to Stephen Carter. I can just say, I can right click on him and I can mute conversation. So he can talk to me all he wants, but I'm not going to get a blah, blah, blah. Go ahead and write me something, Stephen. You can call me something nasty or whatever, and I want to make sure that this actually works. Here's my unread from Coop. Thanks, Coop. So I'm going to not look to see. Did you write me yet, Stephen? Yep. So I didn't get a notification. There's no unread anything here. Whenever I happen to have time and I'm scrolling, I'd be like, oh, look, Carter wrote. What does he want? Not offended at all. My man. You know what? I was premature in muting you. I'm going to unmute you. Now when you ping me, I'm actually going to hear a blank blank, but Stephen's looking for me. You can do that with channels. So if you don't want to be notified every time anyone has anything to say about engineering, you can go to the engineering one and you can mute it. You're still part of it. You can still check it whenever you want, but you don't have to be interrupted every time. Because of what I'm doing here, because I'm your cruise director, I get interrupted all the time for everything. I don't mind. It's a nice distraction. It works great for ADHDers. Am I right, Mike? So here on channels, you can click here and see, oh, well, that's to create a channel. I don't know that you can. I think I shut it off that not everybody can create their own channel. You would ask me for that, but, oh, I know, this is where I wanted to go. You click on the word channels, and this will show you all of the channels. So if you're missing any channels that you want to be part of, this is where you find them. I'm on all of them, so there's nothing here for me to add. Okay, let's see.
Sorry, guys, let me just interrupt you. My
It's time
partner's
for
going
Shabbat.
for dinner down at 7 p.m. So thanks a lot and have a good weekend. Thanksgiving, yeah.
I'm glad you joined us today.
Yep, we'll be in touch.
Too.
Thanks,
Thank
Joe.
you,
Thanks,
Ken.
guys. Bye.
Bye. Let's go back to channels. Where was I? Oh, so I've started the channels that are most important to me. They're up here on top. These are the ones that I have put as a default for everybody. But if you just don't want to hear about our weekly call anymore, shame on you. But you can leave the channel, or you can mute it, or you can unstar it. So these are things you just right click for these choices. Let me go back. Oh, okay. I installed Slack Boundary, so you can click on this and you can find out, well, maybe that's because I did it, but let's see, Slack Boundary. You can take the training right. So let me go to my Slack bot just in case, because I don't want to, and type at Slack Boundary. At here. And I think I hit enter. Does that work? No. I forgot how to do this. Oh, let me click and it'll tell me how. Share Slack boundary with a channel. I did already. And settings about this app. How do I kick it off? I forgot. Oh, okay. So I clicked on it. Start command. Okay, so get starting with Slack, like in the video above. So I can, this is teaching me a step at a time things that I can do in Slack. So next, choose your first lesson. What do I want to learn? Who can see what in Slack? So I had more than one person say, I'm a little concerned about privacy here. What's your NDA policy and things like that? This is a video that tells you who can see what. The basic answer to this question is if you ping me directly, only I can see it. If you put it in a channel, everybody can see it. There's more to it than that, I'm sure. Okay, and let's see if there's anything else. And if you guys have any questions, just ask. I set up a poll. Would you like a group training session? Andre said yes, and Steven said no, but he showed up anyhow. Here is, just for fun, I'm going to send Alan a GIF of, let's say, I'm going to say Giphy drunk. And if I don't want that particular guy being drunk, I can hit shuffle. And I can find just the drunk that I think properly represents how Alan is likely feeling today. You can see.
How did you get to that, Joe?
You type slash. Well, okay, we'll just send this one. I must be drunk. So this is only visible to me, but this was posted to Alan. There, okay. So the way you start that is you say, get here, and it can be left as a comment as well. So I'll just reinforce an earlier lesson. Here's a thread. And I'm going to say slash GIP, and it'll it'll show you the choices.
Got it.
Giphy, and I'm going to say giggle. And that kind of livens up the place a little bit too. All right. Oh, okay. Keyword notifications. Let's say you're working in MDR and you don't want a conversation on this network to go by without you being notified that MDR is happening, or a conversation about MDR. So you go to the top where you click on the down arrow and you select preferences, notifications, my keywords. So if I can remember all of that. Preferences. Notify me about replies, my keywords. So I could show a badge in my job. Okay. So if somebody said the word marketing, do I hit save, or does it just do that? I guess it just does that. I think if I shut this now, and I say, I love marketing things. Marketing is now highlighted in yellow, so it's easier for me to find in this long conversation that we had. There's a word on marketing. I personally don't want that. Well, unpreference that. I had it originally, but I take so many screenshots, I didn't want people to be like, why is that word highlighted? Right, but I know marketing, cool, it worked. Okay, so what you just did, Daniel, is you told 77 people that. However, 77 people weren't notified about it. And I'll tell you why. And that's good in this case. First, I don't know if only I have the privilege or everybody has the privilege of deleting this message. So I'm going to ask Jeff Gable to be our volunteer and see if you can delete cool, it worked. By going to the three dots over here.
So this is, okay, give me just a second. So
you're in our weekly call.
Yep, stand by.
Cool, it worked. Three dots. Do you get a choice to delete message, or is that some omniscient?
I do not see that option. Okay. Let's see. Cool, it worked. Hold on just a second. Yeah.
I do. So I think authors can delete their own messages, and then you as the admin can delete anyone.
I agree.
I'm totally going to delete you because I can.
That's you're an admin.
And it just disappeared for me, so that worked.
Yes, it did. So if I wanted to say, I'm going to go in Slack, and I'm going to, here's how to Slack. If you, I'm going to say need, because this is something that I don't want everybody doing all the time, because I don't think everyone needs to be notified about everything. If you need everyone on the network to get notified, you include the term @channel in your message. Oh, I'm going to edit the message first. In you message, in your message. And it lets you know that I'm about to notify 76 people in 10 time zones. Am I sure I want to do this? Yeah. Screw the Aussies who are sleeping. Now, I doubt anyone who's sleeping has this right by their bed and goes bling and is like, I can't believe it. But I know that this will be they'll make a noise for them and bold it so if they're on, they can see it right now. If I misspelled everyone, I can go back here and edit my message. Everyone's, oh no, I didn't do that right. I'm up here. That doesn't look right. Oh, it's highlighted. Okay, let me check it. Everyone. Save changes. Okay, how to Slack. I went hard. Okay. Oh, okay. So here are the.
Pops up everywhere.
Okay, there you go.
Oh yeah.
These are the apps that I have already added to Slack. So, Mike, you asked me if you can put Outlook Calendar or Google Calendar. Yes, these are integrated and you can use them. And
Okay.
call them up. You can call them up a number of ways. And actually, let's see. How can I add them? Customize Slack, which I think you can do too, I think. Or preferences. Come on. Slackbot loading messages profile. I forgot where to go, so I'll go to help. But these are all the requests that I asked, so we're going to go back because that's not the way we want to do that. I'll go back here. Up here. Help. Add app. Search for add app. They have a very comprehensive library of how to do things. Add an app to your workspace. Add tool to your workspace. A guide to apps. Any member can add apps. What are apps? Who can use apps? Connect them to your workspace. How to add apps. App directory. And you can find things that staff recommends. So if you guys use Salesforce, you can integrate it. And while I've yet to do it, you could theoretically have anybody who sends you a private message go into your database. So you might see some of the things that you use here, but and you can look over here. Atlassian, G Suite. Let's see what G Suite ones we might want to add. So I don't know what all of them necessarily do. Send emails to Slack. So for those of you who are still heavily email dependent, maybe anytime somebody sends you a Slack message and you prefer to get notified by email, you can do that. You could share your Google Drive. If any of you use if this, then that. Trello. Any of you on the call use Trello? I do. So here's Trello. These are members of my team. And my beloved Anne is my virtual assistant. These are her ongoing responsibilities for me. Here's some tasks and something that I have on hold for her to do. And I can add a card and I can say ongoing responsibilities, make me happy, and add a card, and that will become part of her responsibilities. And when she's done with make me happy, she can put it in the done pile. And then I can go in and see that she's completed that task and check. So it's a task management tool. Does anyone on the call besides me have a virtual assistant? What are you people waiting for?
I do. I have one.
Good for you. There you go.
She's in Colorado. She's great.
And Anne is in Abu Dhabi,
Cool.
which not only makes her less expensive, but I've been through so many. She's glorious. I can't even tell you how much work she saves me and how delightful she is. And she has a little bit of capacity. She has time for one more client. So if you want to be the lucky guy to raise your hand right now, I'll introduce you. But anything repetitive, like letting people into any of the 70 LinkedIn groups that you have, is something that you don't have to do. You can have Ann do it. Or if you want her to update your Salesforce or your HubSpot or manage your emails or transcribe something and put it into WordPress or make sure you track how many times somebody clicked on a link that I posted or update the calendar of 80 events and have them roll off as they roll off. Help me with 10X, help me with webinars, help me with Slack, do this task. I can't even. If you ever decide to get a virtual assistant, recognize that your virtual assistant may quit on you one day. Anne is my 7th. Now, that's partially because I'm terrible to work with. And it's also because Bernadette got a better job, Dina retired, Anne got too busy, that kind of thing. So what I've done here is I finally learned my lesson. And instead of onboarding someone for the first time and saying, okay, let me tell you about my business. Well, LinkedIn, do you know LinkedIn groups? No, not really. Can you explain that to me? Okay, well, LinkedIn groups used to be this and used to be that. Instead, I made a video. And when, God give her long life with me, I inherit virtual assistant number 8, she can go ahead and watch this video. And this is actually just me recording a chat that I'm having on Slack with Ruby Ann, which was 2 virtual assistants ago. So I had to explain 2 months ago, so this would have been in November of last year. No, okay, whatever, 3 months ago. They let me notify people again, but for a long time, they wouldn't even let me talk anymore. So I had to explain why I do that, why I created the site, why this, why that. And should I have a new virtual assistant one day, I will wipe all of these out. I'll put it into team onboarding where I still have a whole bunch of things that I've yet to teach Anne because I didn't want to overwhelm her. Because what I used to do for everybody else was, okay, here's all of the files for everything that I do. When you have a chance, go look through them and figure it out, which is not good. So as soon as she figures out my business model, then I can give her the LinkedIn channel, how to let people into a group, how to use beef text for messaging, how to handle spam in the group. And I record each of these things for each of these different tasks. And this is the answer to, I don't know how I could possibly show someone how to do what I do. I thought that forever. For 6-7 years of me being on my own, I was like, I can't believe I have to go person by person and let these people in the group. This is such a waste of time and I'm not making any money doing this. And will you do that for me? It is another world because I can spend this time adding theoretically value on this call versus guys, I have to go because I have to let people into the group. If you don't have a virtual assistant, you're missing out.
Excuse me, Joe, I'm gonna have to bail now. Take care, everybody. We'll see you.
Be well, Andre. Thanks for joining us.
Thanks.
Happy Thanksgiving.
Customer Slack service. I'm getting bored of my voice, which is so rare. So do you guys have any questions about Slack or anything else I've discussed that you think everyone else on the call wants to hear right now? Or do you just want to ping me later for follow-up on this or that?
Well, I've got an Outlook integration question.
Okay.
What is the purpose of integrating Slack with Outlook? Is it so that people will know when you're busy or in a meeting or something, or how does that work?
Okay, so busy in a meeting, you can go to set a status and say in a meeting and hit save. And then you'll see, theoretically, here's the little icon to indicate that I'm in a meeting right now. So if you write me and you're like, okay, I see he's in a meeting, I don't expect an answer. But if I don't want to be disturbed either, I can either go up here like that, or I usually use Slackbot for this kind of stuff. You put / do not disturb, and you say for 3 minutes. Or I can say /DND 4 years. Oh, okay, I can only do up to 1 minute. And when I'm done, I can say DND off. I've turned off do not disturb. So there's a lot of / things here, and I've yet to explore most of them. Active, apps, away, collapse all the files in the current channel. I don't know what that does. Let's see, collapse. Okay, I had no files. I don't know what that meant. But you can experiment just as surely as I. Feed, manage RSS subscriptions, feedback, invite a user. Okay, so mute, we talked about, open, remind, set a oh, I like that. Remind, let's see if this works. Remind Rick. I don't know. We meet in 5 minutes? I don't think that does it. I will remind Rick we'll meet 5 minutes at 9:33. Look at that. At 9:33, you're going to get pinged that we're meeting. Ooh, I like that.
This is cool. I'll let you know when it comes in.
It's going to come in at 9. It's going to come in at 10:33 a.m. your time.
Oh, that time is already gone. We're 2 hours different.
I know. I said at 10. I meant 11. Sorry, 10:33.
Yeah, 5 minutes.
I don't want to wait that long. I want immediate satisfaction. Mind. We are meeting. Where are you? 30 seconds.
There we go.
I didn't quite get that. He's like, perhaps this usually works. What? Oh. You have to do this.
In 30 seconds, right?
Okay. Oh, I didn't say who I was talking to. It worked the first. I guess I'm just being too cute with 30 seconds.
Yeah, I think it wants you to put quotes around the "we are meeting, where are you?"
I'm gonna have to let. Oh, actually, the door's open. Let's see if Bruno can let himself in. I didn't use quotes the first time though.
It may just think 30 seconds is a bit much.
Okay,
I was going 30 whole seconds.
It 30 whole seconds. Time. I don't know why. Anyhow, you can figure it out. And if you can't figure it out, you can click here. You can click help. You can ask chat. They'll tell you. Everyone on the network is entitled to talk to chat just as surely as I. There's no difference in the amount of service I get versus you. As it relates to how to integrate Outlook, I don't know well enough, but you can talk to them on chat and they'll stay with you and they'll say, now, do you see this? Click on this, click on that. It's that good. Oh, and perhaps the most important thing of all that I should have started this conversation with, but I didn't, is I personally know everybody on this network. You don't, but you might want to. So what I do is something as simple as I see Jeff on and I send him some sunshine. and I'm just saying hi. And if it, yeah, I love you too, man. And so he can just send back a jiffy or just be like, hey, really busy, head down, talk soon, or just kind of a, and if you don't know the person at all, you can say, and I have to use someone on the call, so it makes a little bit of sense. I don't know if Alan is still here. Is he still here? Alan is still here. Hi, Alan. Just wanted to introduce myself. Joe tells me you have Crohn's disease? Shit, man. That sucks. That's a real conversation starter. Or you could say something like, hi, Alan, I work in cybersecurity. What do you do? Which is a bit lamer, but you get the idea. And so why don't you make yourselves a plan to say hi to one person a day. In 3 months' time, you'll know everyone on the network. Or if you can handle 2, you can do it in half that time. Or 3, help me out here, Daniel, in a third the time. And that's the point. And then if you all take Mike's predictive index, you'll know, wow, you and I share a lot in common, or I need someone like you to complement my inflexibility with your flexibility and my telling style versus your respecting style, and we will complement one another nicely, which is as good an opportunity as any for me to say, thank you for listening to me ramble for more than an hour. And Mike, why don't you do some talking? Or you guys can say, thanks, but we've already been on for an hour and a half, and I got to get some work done. Up to you. These calls come and go as you please. Jeff's had quite enough.
Mike, I actually looked for the posting and didn't see it. Where did you put the link to the predictive index tool?
He put it in the chat for GoToMeeting.
The chat. I tried it.
Or the channel for GoToMeeting?
In the GoToMeeting chat.
Oh, I see. I see the weekly. I see the weekly call channel, but I don't see a GoToMeeting channel.
Jeff, he did not put it on Slack at all.
Oh, I see.
Exactly. Just this chat.
Oh, now I get. Okay. Oh, this whole time, I see.
For you lucky guys who chose to join us the day after Thanksgiving.
Got it. Okay.
Mike,
Yep,
you and I can talk later about how if we want to send this out to the entire network as well.
Got it.
Jeff,
yeah, I think we should wrap it up today. You know, it's been a long enough day, but this has been great, Joe. Appreciate it.
I'm sorry I mismanaged your expectations. You came already with to show us stuff and talk about stuff, but why don't we?
You were just asking whether we should. Yeah.
Let's schedule you for January. I'm definitely taking the weeks of Christmas and Thanksgiving and New Year's. I might be here alone, but I often am, so that's okay. I wouldn't want to give anyone a week that most people have no interest in coming online.
Sounds good. It's nice meeting everybody.
I'll conclude with dun, 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 dun.
Mike, respond to my chat. Let's talk.
Okay, we'll do.
All right, sounds
Look
good.
at that, it's working. Happy Thanksgiving, guys. I am grateful for all of you.
Happy Thanksgiving.
Thank you, Joe. Bye. Happy Thanksgiving, everybody.
Enjoy the rest of your weekend. Bye.
You too.